All right, this country that we call home is actually such a big deal. We need a part 2 of our favorite things.
Yeah, we ran a little long in part 1, and we're ready to keep going, though. We're re-energized.
That's what happened when I needed a bathroom break. Part 2.
Even when we got nothing to talk about, there's nowhere I'd rather be. 'Cause there's something about you and me just sitting around talking sheets.
Talking Scheetz, Oh Canada,
Yes.
Part 2.
Yes,
Thank
we're
you.
here.
Thank you for joining us. A few things I want to cover before we get to our favorite Canadian things, Part 2. Producer Renato, as you call him, Renato, or however you say that.
Renato.
Renato.
We should actually, this is a good time. We should work on this.
Renato.
No, it's just Renato.
Renato.
Renato. That's how his name is pronounced.
Renato, but it's R-E. So
Yeah, but it's Italian, so the E makes an A sound.
Renato. That's not very Canadian.
Well,
I think he's just Renato.
that sounds like, okay, Russian?
I do not want him to sound Russian.
No, I do. I think we'll just stick
That's
with...
the last thing
Why
I
don't
want
we
him to
just
sound
stick...
like, considering we're doing this Canadian version of the show.
So
Oh.
I don't know how to make it sound more Canadian to you, but I think that part of Canada is accepting so many different cultures, including Italian pronunciations.
I have no problem accepting him as an Italian Canadian citizen. I just the Renato at the end of it, I just don't understand. Renato. Okay, got it.
You can also just say Ren.
All right, anyway.
That's why you call him Randy.
Randy.
Which, by the way, his mom does not like.
Oh.
His mom doesn't like that nickname. So we gotta be careful.
All right.
Queen Shirley?
How does she want him to be pronounced? Because I respect her deeply.
Yeah. She's the most
Would
important
she
listener
say,
we have.
She's not Italian, so she probably is okay with me saying.
Maybe we gotta consult her for the next one.
Let's just not use his name until we consult with
the
Shirley.
man who shall not be named.
Stayed overnight last night and thought he'd forgot his contacts today. He's got daily contacts, so he's running around the house wearing one contact, and he's
with
like,
his eye closed.
I don't know how I'm going to be able to do the show with one eye.
Yes.
And I'm like, hey, there's people that live with one eye. I've got a really good friend. His name is Slavo. He's an incredible welding artist, and he's only got one eye. He lost one eye, and he's able to pull off. So anyway, Renato, sorry, whatever his name is.
Keep in mind, we've been together for like 9 years.
Yeah.
So this shouldn't be a new battle.
All right.
Renato.
Renato.
Yes.
I'll just gonna call him R.
Okay.
R.
The pirate with one eye.
Yes,
That's actually pretty good.
Okay, R from now on.
R with the one contact.
He found his other contact. Because
Yes.
of course he had to. He just likes to cause drama.
Yes.
And he got his two contacts, and away we go. And yeah.
We're here. We thought we'd have to. We stayed over last night to come to film the podcast so that we were already here, so we could just get going. And then we thought we would have to go back home and get his contacts, and I was so annoyed.
Yes,
but he redeemed himself, and he's here, and he can see us.
Yeah.
And the man who shall not be named he's got the show covered.
Exactly. We're fine.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay, we're fine. I just want to say that really quick. Secondly, really quickly, I mean, one of the best things about the country we live in is the charity angle of this country. And I'm working now with Alberta Dreams, which is a really amazing charity giving fulfilling dreams to chronically and seriously ill children. I had my first dream reveal. You can see it on all of my social media. We went to Ariane's house. She's 17 years old. She'll be 18 this fall. Her single mother, Anna, and her grandma, Ariane, and Anna all live together, and they're beautiful people, and they've been tenting for years with a group of family and friends, and they go out tenting. Everybody else has RVs. We were able to reveal that they were going to get a pop-up tent trailer so they could do this sort of stuff, and Ariane's battle has been really, really difficult, and it was just a beautiful thing. Coming up on Tuesday, I'm going out to another place east of Edmonton, just for privacy's sake. We're not exactly able to say exactly where, but we're going to be doing a really cool dream reveal again. So I cannot wait.
Canadians are giving.
They are.
Yes, that's a great quality of the people in our country. Is typically they're very generous and willing to help others, and part of that is Alberta Dreams.
Exactly. So I just feel so good about doing this, and I cannot wait. And more information about albertadreams.ca if you'd like to Join the team. I would like to deputize as many people as I can.
Deputize.
That's what I'm calling it. Yes.
That's a big word for
Deputize dream makers.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
You got a whole brand.
Check that out. And then this past weekend, I was at the Flaman Foundation event. Frank Flaman was an amazing entrepreneur. He came to Alberta in the 1980s. He was from Saskatchewan, where he had a kind of a rental kind of business. And he brought it to Alberta, and he created this empire, Flaman Empire, and they do wonderful things. I own my exercise bike from there. They got Flaman Fitness. We have I bought a big water tank from them at some points in my life, and you can do rentals and stuff like that. But the amazing thing about Flaman is unfortunately Frank passed away in his 80s a couple of years ago. But his company goes to the foundation, and all of the money that they make in that company is donated back to charity. Mm-hmm. in our area and around the world.
So it's become like a non-profit, big, giant corporation company.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. So I did their gala, and it was great, and there were so many wonderful people there, and it was just such a fantastic thing, and I love what they are doing. Mm-hmm. Talk about great Canadian companies.
Yeah.
And Frank Flaman was one of those people. And
we can't talk about Flaman without talking about the man on the treadmill.
Exactly. The running man.
The running man.
And everybody's we were talking about that last night. There's like when the man on the treadmill goes away, everybody worries.
People get nervous.
Where did he go? Is he okay?
And then in the holiday season, it's Santa Claus on the treadmill. It's such a fun. You can tell that they're a good company because that's so funny.
Right.
It's such a good bit.
Yeah, it is. Yeah. It really is. So shout out to them. And again, I'd love to be involved in your event as well. ChrisScheetz.ca, shameless plug. Yeah. As far as hosting and stuff goes.
You love those. You love to do those right before we start, so I can't stop you.
Yeah.
It's right off the hop.
Shameless plugs. Okay. Let's get into it. Okay. We've got our favorite Canadian things. Jeff, that I play hockey with on Thursday mornings with the United Sport and Cycle people, another great Canadian company that started almost 100 years ago. Another free plug. But I play hockey every Thursday. Jeff's one of the goalies. As soon as I walk in the room on Thursday morning, he's like, Hawkins cheesies.
Yeah, we have a formal apology to make.
Yeah.
We've received some negative feedback.
Yes.
Our first true negative feedback. There's always some negative feedback, but like there's a consensus going on that Talking Scheetz omitted something very important.
Conspiracy theory. Yeah, why don't we like Hawkins cheesies?
Yeah, I heard from friends. There's comments on YouTube.
Yeah.
There's Instagram messages.
Yeah.
We talked about our favorite Canadian snacks in the last episode. If you haven't listened to it, go listen to it now.
Yeah.
And we didn't talk about Hawkins cheesies.
Right.
And people are upset.
Okay.
I love Hawkins cheesies.
So do I.
It was absolutely just a mistake.
All right, here's another Hawkins cheesies hack for you. Maybe you don't even have one hack in your life, but Colette, who's one of the princesses of Stanichi's, again, another great Canadian product, Stanichi's.
Oh, the best.
Ed Stanichi started a wonderful sausage empire as well. But Colette told me, put your Hawkins cheesies in the deep freeze.
Oh.
Freeze them, then have them, and they're 10 times better.
Oh, I'll have to try that because I don't when I go grocery shopping, we've talked about grocery shopping before, but I'm like buying things on sale, and I'm focusing on the list that I've been provided by our producer, and I don't often buy things on the end. But if that man goes grocery shopping, best believe he's coming home with a big bag of Hawkins cheesies every single time, and like those things are dangerous.
Yeah,
we dust the whole bag. There's dust everywhere in the bag. The Cheetos are gone. They're delicious. So but we'll have to try the freezer trick.
We apologize to Mr. or Mrs. Hawken or
We're
whoever.
We're so sorry.
Like last week I was able to pull out all these fun facts. I'm not sure where Hawkins cheesies came from or where they got their name, but they are awesome, especially if you put them in the deep freeze.
Okay.
All right. Favorite band. Okay. Canadian, all-time favorite Canadian band. You go first.
I don't know if I have a favorite one, but I think if you don't mention Tragically Hip, then we will be kicked out of Canada.
Yes.
That is just... They are iconic. Their final tour was amazing.
Yeah.
You don't realize how many amazing songs they have until they're played, and you're like, oh yeah, Tragically Hip is just maybe just a Canadian favorite.
Right. I mean, there's hello, Jim Cuddy. Come on, let's go, Jim Cuddy. It's not One Horse Blue.
Blue Rodeo. Okay, Blue Rodeo.
Jim Cuddy, Blue Rodeo. Seriously, one of the best Canadian,
iconic
Canadian bands for sure.
I need to stop saying iconic because another thing I noticed when I was editing the last podcast was every time we talked about anyone, I would be like, Canadian icon. And I wanted to be like, at the end of the podcast, I should have said, take a shot of Canadian whiskey every time Bailey says Canadian icon, because it was 100 times. So this is, if you want to play a drinking game with Talking Scheetz, Canadian icon.
I've got a few cliches I got to clean up too.
Yeah.
Okay. Jim Cuddy, had a chance to work with him at the Wine for Words event, which they've got another one coming up in May. And he's truly an absolute legend, and as is the group. And again, getting back to Tragically Hip, Gord Downie, not just the artist he was, but the way he handled what he was going through was amazing. So inspirational. One of the top Canadians of all time, Gord Downie.
Yeah.
Write that down.
He's really amazing.
All right. Nickelback. How do you not mention Nickelback? They're hated because they're great. Yeah. And they are. They would be the band probably that would be best known around the world as being, from Canada and being the biggest.
And from Alberta.
Right.
Yeah.
Hannah, Alberta.
Yeah. The corn.
Yeah.
Isn't there that Tabor corn?
Tabor.
But Hannah also has corn?
Well,
no.
Probably. I mean,
we can't start throwing things out again.
We have a corn maze 2 kilometers from us, so the corn is everywhere in this province.
It's corn.
Okay, let's talk country. Yeah,
country.
Or you want to?
I was just gonna say how much Nickelback. If you haven't seen them perform live, I think you can't actually. Like people that say, "Oh, Nickelback." When you see them perform live, the energy that they bring, there's pyrotechnics everywhere. You feel like your face is burning.
Yeah.
Chad Kruger has an all-time voice. Yeah. Like he's really, really talented. Yeah. And they have so many songs. You feel like the whole concert is warming up for a hockey game. It's that music that just like makes you feel like you're at a hockey game. Which is good music.
I can tell already we're going to need a part 3 for Canada.
No, I'll slow down. No. Every time I talk, you say I'm going too long.
No, because I have stuff to say about Nickelback too. Nickelback, the very first time I saw them was at Fire Aid.
Oh, yes.
When we had the Fire Aid at Commonwealth Stadium, and there was a bunch of country acts, and Nickelback was there, and it was just like, wow.
Yeah.
I loved it. And I didn't think, I'd never even thought about them before that, but it was like, you're right. If you go to a Nickelback concert and you're not going, this is fantastic, you're the problem.
It might not be for you.
No.
But you can recognize that it's good.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying.
For sure.
And Chad Kruger.
Yeah.
Kruger, I think. Chad Kruger. He came to a Keith Urban show once, and Keith invited him up on stage to sing with him. And he came up on the stage and he said, "Hey, Edmonton, how the F are ya?" And typically at a country concert, the F word does not get thrown around.
Yeah, Keith Urban is not dropping F-bombs. Definitely not in his Australian accent.
When he threw out the F-bomb at a country concert, everybody paused, and then they went, "Yay!" But they paused, and then they went, like,
is this okay?
They were computing if it was okay, and then they all cheered.
Yeah.
You know?
He brings a rock star energy for sure.
Exactly.
They did a great job at the Heritage Classic last year in Edmonton as well.
Yeah.
Their pyrotechnics were kind of melting the ice. It was a whole thing.
Exactly. Okay, let's talk about High Valley, our friends from Lacrete. High Valley is now just Brad Rempel, but it was his brothers prior to that. 3 brothers, then 2 brothers, now just him. But
the
fantastic.
last brother standing.
Yeah, but you have to like them because
they're great people.
Well, you sang with them.
I did sing, but I didn't want to say that because that makes it sound like I sang with them in a professional setting. I sang with them on a stage in Mexico doing karaoke. Like it wasn't
karaoke. They were playing.
We were playing their songs, but it
wasn't karaoke. They were playing. I've got it. It's like I've got that video. I watch it every once in a while.
It was good.
It was fantastic.
It was pretty good.
So how can
they brought out the best in me?
How can we not say High Valley?
I just didn't want people to think I was like on tour with them. Like,
okay.
I'm not. Don't hire me for your events.
I tried to get you on tour with them. Okay. Again, we don't have time for this, but we have to tell the Brad Rempel story.
We have time. You know what?
What? We do have time.
We have
It's a podcast.
Yes.
The only one that really wants us to wrap up quickly is your mother.
Yes.
Because she's upstairs with dogs and your daughter.
Yeah, which is a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah. So she's really the MVP of the podcast.
Because when we came downstairs, she's like, make it quick.
Yeah, I know. She's like, we gotta get going.
We do have other things to do.
Of course.
All right, Brad Rempel. We're in Mexico on this trip. They come. It's a kissing trip. We're hosting it with a bunch of listeners and winners and things like that. And Brad Rempel, I say I'm going to go out for a run. And he says, "Hey, I'll run with you." And then Bailey was going to come on the run too in Mexico. So the 3 of us head out from the resort and we're running down the street in wherever we were, Cabo, I think. And we're running down the street, and then what happens?
Well, if you've never seen Brad Rempel before, he is a very attractive, fit man.
Yoked.
Like I would say, like beyond yoked.
Yeah, no, he like
and like
he drinks bone broth.
Yeah, like he is a
I
healthy man.
I never saw him go into the buffet.
No,
right?
like he just sustains on like protein powder.
We were all in the buffet eating in Mexico. He was at a table outside just eating air.
Yeah,
like that's the kind of guy
just
he is.
Making him glow and get stronger.
Exactly.
And like he looks fit when he's in his clothing, of course.
Yeah.
But we're running and both of us are we like to run, but we don't look like we should be running.
I was better back then, but I still didn't look like a runner. I'm built like a Clydesdale.
We're not built like
if you know what a Clydesdale horse is. Yeah. Okay.
He's built like any kind of athlete.
Yeah.
And at one point we're running through town and he's like, "Oh, it's getting a little warm. I'm just gonna take my shirt off real quick."
He peels it off.
I'm a little bit shook at that point. This was a long time ago too, so I was young.
How old were you? 16, something like that?
No, I was like 18-ish.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
And I am like shook, and I'm just like stumbling down, and I've never ran faster in my life because I was like, okay, I have to keep up with this man. I can't look. Yeah. I was focused. I was focused.
Yeah, exactly. So then I took my shirt off just to be like him.
Yeah, and you looked exactly the same. He was getting some attention running through Cabo, I will say. It wasn't just me.
Yeah. He went by some Mexicans. They went, ay, ay, ay.
Truly.
All right. Anybody else you want to mention?
I mean, I think that we could mention, there's so many great bands. There's Metric, the Arkells. We talked about James Barker Band. There's so many good ones.
And we're probably missing somebody like a Hawkins Cheesies. And tell us, we like your input after.
Yes.
We'd like to know when we've messed up.
And we're not, again, I said this in the last episode, we're not listing every single band from Canada.
Yeah.
We're listing some of our favorites and ones that we have personal kind of stories and experiences with.
Yeah, like I could go Doc Walker, Emerson Drive.
Oh no, he's doing it again. He's gonna keep going.
The Good Brothers. Yeah, there's so many bands that from this country, I've loved. Okay, top Canadian song. Your top Canadian song of all time. What would that song be?
When you made this list, it's like about Canada, right?
Yeah, I think so.
It's not like top song by a Canadian artist.
Yeah.
Because okay.
No, exactly. I think it's your top song that resonates Canada.
Right.
All right.
Right. Okay.
Do you have one?
I like these songs. I don't know if I have. Let me think. You can go through the list. I'll think a little bit.
There's a song called Highway of Heroes by the Trews. And I would play it a lot on Kissin'. Highway of Heroes. And it's it's about the soldiers that have, given it all for the country. And there's a Highway of Heroes, as I understand, in Ontario. And it's just, when I hear that song, I think Canada. I think, especially right now, and again, we didn't really talk about it. We're trying not to be political, but it's just, you know what? We have actually fought for this country and for the rest of the world. Take that, you know who you are. But that song kind of resonates to me in that way.
Alberta Bound.
Alberta Bound. Of course, it's Alberta, but it's still Canada. It's still Canada.
That's one for me. When I lived in BC, so far away, one province away for a while in Victoria, we talked about that. Yeah. I would listen to it sometimes and feel a little bit nostalgic.
Yeah.
Right?
What's the lyric? The sign says 20 miles to Canada.
Truck. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Good one.
All right. Stompin' Tom. This is for my nephew Brandon because he was upset that we didn't mention Stompin' Tom last week.
See, we're getting all kinds of we're doing our best.
Yeah.
But
Sudbury Saturday Night.
Stompin'
Anything
Tom
by Stompin' Tom
is Canadian.
Ketchup Loves Potatoes. Yeah. There's so many great Stompin' Tom songs, and every one of them is Canadian. Yeah. Right. So shout out to Brandon. And I was going to mention it, but then he said, make sure you mention it. So there it is.
Yeah.
And
we talked about Tragically Hip. Wheat Kings. Yeah. Tragically Hip is a Canadian anthem.
I listened to it.
Anthem is the new one.
I listened to it preparing for this, and I'm like, oh my gosh,
it's Canada.
Yeah, exactly.
I think we didn't mention in the last episode, but Corb Lund, something about his music to me is quintessentially Canadian as well. Like Truck Got Stuck is only a Canadian song. Yeah,
doesn't happen anywhere else.
No, there's no trucks getting stuck.
And there's no other song in the world that mentions Hutterites.
It's to me it's very that is an artist that is so Canadian and great.
Okay.
I love Corb.
Perfect. All right. Well, there's our top Canadian songs.
Yeah.
That went faster. Favorite tourist attraction in our country?
Yeah. Niagara Falls. I have been there once.
Yeah.
I did my hair and my makeup and I got all ready to take photos. I'm like, come on, this is like I'm going to this wonder of the world in Canada.
Yeah.
I didn't really think it through that the closer you get to the falls, it didn't make sense to do your hair.
Right.
So all my photos, my hair is like curly and frizzy.
Right.
My makeup's running down my face,
Right.
but it's beautiful.
Yeah.
Maybe not for the. You don't need to look beautiful to look at it. It's beautiful in itself. That's my advice.
I've only been there once, flying trip. We were at the CCMAs in Hamilton. We had a little bit of time, so we flew there, spent an hour with your mom, and so we didn't do like the romantic thing or anything like that. But when I think of Niagara Falls, I think about your grandpa Ed, and this is one of the best the cutest stories of all time when it comes to your grandpa. So your grandpa, my father-in-law, was going through Alzheimer's and all of the different stages of that, and it was early on, kind of middle of his journey with that, and he went with my brother and sister-in-law, Darcy and Sharon, and their family. They were playing hockey in Toronto, so I wasn't there. But as I understand it, they went to the falls on a bus. They got off the bus at Niagara Falls, and Eddie got off the bus and pointed and said, "There it is." And everybody said, "Oh my gosh, there he's seeing the falls. He's responding to this. This is awesome." But he was pointing to Tim Hortons. There it is. Tim Hortons.
Tim Hortons should have taken that idea and ran with it for a commercial.
I tried to give him a hint, and I think they might have done a version of something like that in the future.
Did you talk to Tim himself?
Well, no.
How did you do that?
Tim
Hortons.
Tim is but
I
Tim,
know that. I know who Tim
if
Hortons is.
If I'm talking to Tim, that's not a good sign.
It was just a joke.
I know.
Tim Horton was an amazing hockey player. I know Tim Horton.
If you had to, for me to call Tim, I'd have to call long distance.
Yes.
Okay.
But that is honestly a beautiful story.
It is a beautiful story.
So Canadian.
There it is. And yeah, it was Tim Hortons. It was not the falls. Okay.
Man loved his double-double.
Yeah. All right. Jasper and Banff.
Yes.
Both of them. I mean,
yes.
Again, Jasper closer, kind of, well, they're both the same distance from us, but Jasper's kind of Edmonton's Banff in a lot of ways. I mean, it just, it's the one obviously west of us, and the things that they went through last year and the rebuild and stuff like that.
It's from friends and family that have gone, apparently it's amazing to go back, and they want people to go back. They want people to come to Jasper. There's a lot of rehabilitation being done, but there are a lot of things that are still open, like the Jasper Park Lodge and things like that are still open for business, and it's still the mountains, and it's still beautiful. And
Marmot Basin.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Some great memories at Marmot Basin for sure.
Oh yeah. All
right.
We love Jasper.
There was one time spring skiing, and your mom is not exactly a daredevil. But I remember we were spring skiing, and there's a lot to the story, but we wound up spring skiing, and her and I were going down the hill towards the parking lot, and it was close to the end of the year, so there was areas where there wasn't really snow, and I remember she hit literally a dirt pack, and she started to roll.
Oof.
Anyway, again, some of those visual memories. She was fine.
Might have been the last time she went skiing.
But I've never seen somebody wipe out skiing and have to wipe the dirt off them.
Yeah, she hit a mudslide. That's not ideal.
All right, and Banff is Banff, and Canmore's Canmore. They're beautiful. Whistler is really nice.
Yes.
Went up there. You guys went to some concert in that area.
Squamish.
Yes.
Yes.
You and Carter to see Drake.
Yes, this is such a Canadian story.
Yeah.
Where Drake was playing at the Squamish Music Festival, which I don't think exists anymore, but it was awesome. Up in the mountains.
Right.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Rained the whole time, of course.
Yeah.
But I really wanted to see Drake at the time, and this was 2016. So he was like Drake, it was peak Drake.
Yeah.
And Carter's not a Drake. Carter prefers country music.
He's a music fan.
He's a music fan,
but
a country music fan.
He's like me. I don't really get Drake. I don't think he gets Drake either.
Yeah, but and so
I appreciate Drake, but I don't get Drake.
But you know what? Sometimes you got to do things for the people you love,
and that's what he did.
His sacrifice to me was coming to a Drake concert in the mountains in the rain.
Yes,
and it was so packed, but it was really fun. But what a beautiful area!
Yeah,
and you and Mom explored Whistler.
We dropped you off and killed time while you two were doing your thing, and yeah. Anyway, that
was a good time. Drake, he put on a great show.
Yeah, and a perfect time to mention him because I don't really get him, but my gosh, he's
famous.
He's massive.
Except he's got the disc, the beef.
He's got the disc thing going on with Carmel Lamar.
Carmel
Lamar. Kendrick Lamar. I know it's Kendrick Lamar. They got a disc.
Do you know what it's called?
The song?
Yeah.
You Suck, Drake.
Honestly, that's kind of the theme.
I don't know. All right, and I put Fort Edmonton Park on this list.
Yes,
I love Fort Edmonton Park.
I do too. I just thought it was a funny addition because these are all these like natural geographical wonders, like the Rocky Mountains and Niagara Falls and Fort Edmonton Park.
Yeah.
But it is pretty cool.
It is cool.
The Hotel Selkirk, the haunted hotel, is amazing.
Yes.
It's a cool spot. The hangar.
We went and did that Christmas thing. What was it called?
Yes. Yes.
Christmas X or
the Xmas market.
That was
yes, yes. At Christmas X, the Xmas market.
But yeah, for Edmonton Park, it's always just a really cool thing.
It's a cool Edmontonian attraction.
The River Valley, it's beautiful. Okay, what else?
Well, when we're driving to our attractions,
yes,
what is our preferred vehicle of choice?
Oh, I think it's from Londonderry Dodge.
It is. Yes, we talked last week about which parts of our vehicles were made in Canada, but the people and the place is in Canada. And we love Londonderry Dodge.
Yeah.
This week I was going to West Edmonton Mall, which again, I guess is probably a pretty big Canadian tourist attraction.
That's a pretty big one.
Yeah.
Hello.
Yeah.
You don't appreciate the things in your backyard.
Yeah, it's so close
to
us.
Go to Disneyland, as much as I can, but why not Galaxyland?
Yeah,
right?
why not?
Okay,
They're putting in a new roller coaster.
So you go shopping at West End.
Yes, which before I would just hop in a car, go to the mall, do what I need to do.
Right.
Now it's a bit more of a production with the 7-month-old baby Leona.
Yeah.
And I had to, the stroller that we purchased for her, we got from Facebook Marketplace. It's a beautiful, amazing stroller, but it's kind of a beast. It's heavy, it's big.
Yeah.
She requires that.
It's actually worth more than my first vehicle was. But anyway, go on.
Yes, but we bought it on Marketplace used.
All right, nice.
But anyway, the point of the story is that I had to haul out the baby, the stroller, the diaper bag. I had a bunch of returns to make, so I had bags and bags and bags, and I had just loaded up the Compass Trailhawk, the 2025 Jeep Compass Trailhawk from Londonderry Dodge, and I was like just very thankful that it fit everything, because our car would not have fit that much stuff, especially with the stroller and all the things that are required just to go to the mall.
Yeah, it doesn't look that big, but
it's compact, but it fits enough,
it's a smart build.
Yes, and I was very thankful to have it in that moment, because it's just like going to the mall requires so many more things than it used to.
Yeah. And your mom said, because she met you there with the Londonderry Dodge Ram, 1500 Classic.
She did, and we were parked side by side. It looked pretty good.
But she said, you know what? When I saw them leave in that vehicle, and I knew they were safe and snug as a bug in a rug with that Trailhawk, she says that made me feel good as a grandma.
Yeah, because the weather's been kind of crazy. This week.
So shout out to, of course, everybody, Mitch and Jamie and everybody at Londonderry Dodge, great Canadian company, and they will do you right, whatever you're looking for.
Let them know. Talking Scheetz.
Yes, please do that. Okay, best Canadian drink. Whoo-wee. Simple. So simple. This one starts and ends with a Caesar.
You love a Caesar.
I love a Caesar.
Do you like the kind of Caesars that they make these days where it's basically a meal and there's like bacon and
I don't like paying $35 for it.
But you like to have pepperoni
in it.
Yeah.
For sure. Celery is always a nice add, like you say, asparagus. Sometimes you go to these golf tournaments now, and they'll just have a crazy amount of stuff in them, like cheese and oh my gosh.
Do you like it spicy?
Bacon. No, I don't mind it spicy, but my body,
you're getting your acid reflux.
It's not the best, but so when we went on our last trip to Mexico, they made a decent Caesar there, which they typically never ever do.
We have friends that bring Caesar supplies.
Clamato.
To Mexico so that they can have their Caesars in Mexico.
The only thing with a Caesar is it's not like you can drink, like if you want that to be your drink of choice and you're planning to get schmammered, it's not like
it's all
12 Caesars is not really a realistic thing.
That's like 18 servings of vegetables.
Well, that's a good part. But it's not a drink that you can have like 10 of or not that I drink 10. Don't get me wrong.
No.
But even 3 of it's just not that kind of a drink. For me, it's usually I like the one, right? Especially at the airport when you're going on a holiday. I don't care what time it is. You go to Chili's and you get yourself a Caesar, even if it's 8 in the morning. It's just like then you're on vacay. So we can stop right there. That's it. But you probably got a few more.
Well, I'm not a Caesar fan. To me, it's a little bit like drinking ketchup. But that doesn't mean I'm not Canadian. I love ketchup, but it's not for me. We talked about Crown Royal. There's a bunch of Canadian
We have to
beer.
mention this for your uncle,
yes.
Darcy. Darcy Pollock, Crown Royal. Yeah, he owns stocks, but Crown Royal, is
Canadian.
Is truly it's one of the drinks we're known for. Yeah, go.
There's so many local Canadian beer companies that we love. We have our friends at Next 5 Brewing in Devon.
Right.
They make so many different really, really cool craft beers. A lot of this is me kind of like talking out of my butt, though. I will say I'm not a huge drinker, as we know. But if I was to have a drink of choice, it would be a lovely glass of wine.
Yeah.
And we are very lucky to have access to so many amazing wineries in BC that bring in wine from
Right.
to Alberta. Like
Right.
the BC wine is some of the best in the world.
That we should really be concentrating on supporting right now, especially.
Yes, especially I think that would be my drink of choice.
Okay. So we've talked about bringing R onto the show, like having a
Yes.
microphone for him, and we'll probably do that. Today's not the day.
Yeah,
Because he's
Renato-
annoyed us both because he forgot his contacts and he was slurping his
Yeah.
coffee this
We're
morning.
gonna keep him in silence for a bit
yeah,
more, but
he needs to be punished before he gets to be on the show.
But we do think that one thing we have shaded him a bit this morning.
Yeah.
But you cannot say that he doesn't know stuff. He
No.
has so many fun facts, and he knows a lot about everything. So I think it would be helpful to have him as an occasional.
Because most of his facts are boring.
Yes, he does provide a lot of boring facts.
Yeah.
But every once in a while, there's a gem in there.
Yeah.
And sometimes
It's-
we make things up.
Yeah.
So it could be helpful to have him.
He's kind of like if a scientist and an accountant could have a baby.
He does know a lot about
Like things.
like it's
but it's
boring.
nothing that you ever want to hear about.
Like he'll come out. He'll
I don't
come
think
out
his
of the
mom's
bedroom.
gonna like this very much. Surely we apologize. We're just having fun.
He'll come out of the bedroom and be like, "You'll never believe this," and I'll be like, "Okay." He's like, "They figured out more information about the life cycle of a fly," and I'm like, "What do you mean?" And he's been reading an article for 48 minutes about the life cycle of a fly, and he knows everything about it. He knows so much stuff.
I know too much stuff.
Perhaps he knows too much.
Yeah, I wish he was dumber. I do.
Me too. He makes me feel dumb every day. I don't know anything about the life cycle of a fly.
All right, best Canadian drink: Kokanee, Pilsner.
Yes.
All of these different Canadian beers.
And
I know
he
we're
would
missing a
have
bunch.
so many.
So
And
many
that's
thoughts.
why he's a big craft beer guy.
That's why we're not sure if we could.
Sea Change in Edmonton, I know, is one of his favorites. So
Yeah.
shout out to them and Next Five.
Sea Change has the Prairie Fairy.
Yes, we
Yeah.
love a Prairie Fairy. The pink
Yeah.
beer. It's
Yeah.
yeah.
All right, favorite Canadian long weekend.
Okay.
Easy peasy.
For you.
It's not for you.
No, I disagree with you.
May Long.
Yeah.
It's-
You love it.
It's like, well, when I was growing up in Thorsby, we always had our Thorsby days then, right?
Mhm.
So it was just like May Long came, get ready for the parade, get
Mhm.
ready. There was socials and events, and when you got a little bit older, and it welcomes spring and summer and all of the great things that Canada has to offer.
Mm-hmm.
Which is your favorite?
Labor Day. Labor Day long weekend.
Because
My birthday is
Yeah.
September 1st. It's usually the weekend that I celebrate my birthday, whether my birthday's on the weekend or not. It usually is around my birthday.
Yeah.
I also love like early fall. I think September's the best month of the year.
Yeah.
But in Edmonton particularly, the leaves are starting to change. It's cold, but it's not too cold.
Yeah, fair.
I liked going back to school as a kid too. Like the first day of school I found very exciting. Labor Day long weekend, it's the best. The weather's usually great as well. May long, the weather is usually historically terrible. in
Well,
Edmonton.
it's either nice or it's snowing. One or
Yeah.
the other, right?
Yeah,
That's a
or
classic
last
Edmonton
year,
thing.
or the year before, there was such bad smoke. There's always
Oh
something
yeah,
going
we,
on.
we played in the Thorsby
Yes.
ball tournament with we couldn't literally see the pitching mound from
Yes.
from the batting. Yeah, from
There's
the
usually
plate.
something going on May long. I remember Beyonce came to Edmonton in 2016,
Yeah.
and she performed on May long weekend,
Yeah.
and it was sleeting, like raining, but it was freezing. And Beyonce said, "This is the coldest I've ever been." So Edmonton's claim to fame is making Beyonce
Yeah.
on May long weekend the coldest she's ever been.
Everybody in the beehive wanted to hibernate.
Yeah,
Okay,
it's pretty good.
got it. Favorite Canadian restaurant chain. Okay, so these
Yes.
are not like individual
Yeah,
restaurants.
because there's so
so
many
many
good
restaurants.
local restaurants
Right,
and
there's
like
so many great
one-offs
restaurants.
that we love.
So we better not mention them because then we're gonna miss some. And then
Exactly,
they're
but
gonna get
but
upset.
the chains,
But quickly,
the comfort.
I'm so busy now, but I'm trying to get back into my small town restaurant tour thing,
Yes.
right? Take my mom and my mother-in-law and Karen, and we got to go and travel around Alberta and support them. But
Mm-hmm.
let's just talk about the big chains, all right? The bigger chains, the ones that we talked about. We talked about Tim Hortons. Yeah, classic, right?
If you want to drink coffee that makes you feel like you're probably on drugs,
Yeah.
Tim Hortons is the place.
Yeah.
It is a classic,
Yeah.
but their coffee is strong.
Yeah.
It is so caffeinated,
Right.
so strong. I like their classics. I love a Tim Hortons bagel. I feel like they're getting a little crazy and like starting to bring in pizzas and like all like the menu is
Oh, there's
really expanded.
okay,
There's a lot of other things, but like a classic Tim Hortons Timbit,
right?
or what's your favorite Tim Hortons donut?
Donut,
Yeah.
apple fritter.
Okay. I like
Apple fritter,
the
right?
chocolate glaze.
Yeah.
The chocolate glaze for me. But
Apple
Tim's
fritter.
Tim's is a classic.
Okay.
Boston pizza.
BP's started in Edmonton.
Yes.
In
And
Edmonton.
this is one of the fun facts that producer has provided us with, that Boston Pizza has to pay the city of Boston a certain amount of money to license their name, apparently.
I don't know. R is nodding, kind of. So
R.
they have to pay Boston.
It's to be like trade, because I'm sure the city of Boston trademarks Boston, but Boston Pizza is
Okay.
but it is delicious. We
Yeah.
love Boston Pizza.
Yeah,
It's such a comfort classic food.
Yeah, it's everybody can agree on, okay, where are we going tonight? Where are we going near driving?
Yes.
Boston Pizza. Okay, yeah,
Yeah.
makes sense. And again, started in Edmonton, which is really cool.
Yeah.
Harvey's makes a hamburger, a beautiful thing. My one quick Harvey story is Lone Star, the country group. Their biggest song was called Amazed. It crossed over and it became like the biggest song on the planet for a short time.
Mhm.
Just before all that happened, they came to Edmonton for a promo tour, and we had Lone Star performing at the Harveys on the south side.
We performed.
Yeah. And
Huh.
just before that song was at the top of the charts for 8 weeks.
Did they sing that song? Like, was it out?
They were there, and I'm sure they sang it. Yeah, no, it was definitely the time that song was a big hit.
Wow.
Well, it was becoming a
Yeah,
big hit.
it was like growing.
But they literally played at Harvey's.
Wow.
It was the funniest thing, because I
guess-
thought, this is redonkulous. This is like... It's
surrounded by burgers every time our eyes meet. See, the least romantic. That song is so beautiful.
I would grab my burger and I would just be looking at it and singing to it and going, yes, I'm
Baby,
amazed. I am amazed by you. That literally happened.
Harvey's burgers are delicious.
They are fantastic.
They also have a dill pickle, deep fried pickle poutine.
Yeah.
That is amazing. It's a newish thing, but it's
right.
very good.
You know, you're getting to that point in your life where, as my uncle Ewald would say, closer to the end of the yardstick than the beginning of your yardstick, when you go, Swiss Chalet is a place for you.
Oh yeah, that's
You know?
for Grandma Dia loves Swiss Chalet.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's you get those rotisserie chickens.
What is the sauce or the whatever, the Swiss Chalet?
It is like a gravy, isn't
But
it?
it's not. It's just like a watery thing.
Yeah. I don't know Swiss Chalet's
it's got a name.
secret sauce.
It's got a name.
I'm still kind of halfway, not even halfway through my yardstick, so I don't frequent Swiss Chalet a lot.
It's got a name. But anyway, everybody
Okay.
knows it. It's like it's almost a watery gravy thing, and
Yeah.
you either love it or you're like, okay, this isn't gravy. The keg.
The keg. I saw a TikTok this week actually that was talking about the keg, and it was like, yeah, I'm going to my friend's birthday dinner. It's at the keg, and the other guy's like, oh, the keg. Like they're both being shady about it,
Yeah.
and then he's like, actually, I really love the keg.
Yeah.
And he's like, yeah, me too. Like their service is amazing, and their steaks are perfect every time. It's true. You're
Yeah.
kind of like, oh, we're going to the keg again, and then you eat. The
Yeah.
food is always so good.
And you always have keg gift certificates. I'm
Everyone-
just saying, I don't know why, but
Yes.
they're the go-to gift for people.
If you are paying with your card at the
Yeah.
keg, what are you doing?
Yeah.
These gift cards just appear in people's wallets, I swear.
I've always complained to my family that the keg is too noisy. I don't know why.
It's like dark. I think it like...
Maybe it's the dark
and,
noise.
yeah, I think
But
it's dark and you can't
The
see.
food's great and everything like that, but I think about it's noisy, like it's noisy. I don't know.
It is busy.
Maybe
It's
that's
always busy. And there's like usually large groups.
But-
like it's, yeah.
But you can't get in, so it's like
Yeah.
people are willing to deal with the noise, obviously.
Yeah. But you get their bread,
Yeah.
the fresh bread they bring to the table,
Yeah.
the salads, the steak,
Yeah. It's
their mashed potatoes.
obviously it's awesome.
It's a
All
great
right.
place.
Favorite Canadian TV shows. We got started on this a little bit on the last episode.
Yes.
Um
There's definitely a generational divide in this list.
There's
so-
going to be. So for those of you that are of my era, I'm going to start with this. There's a voice that keeps on calling me. Down the road is where I'm going to be. Every stop I make a new friend. That would be The Littlest Hobo.
Okay.
That means nothing to you.
I have never seen The Littlest Hobo.
The Littlest Hobo is a story about a dog who just would show up every episode, help some kind of a situation out, like get Timmy out of the well.
Oh.
And then the Littlest Hobo would just, at the end of the episode, would just head off and go somewhere
On a
else.
they never had a home?
No. He would just move, and he would just, somehow he'd show up just when people needed him, and he would always save the day.
That's sweet, but I'm sad that he didn't have a home.
Well, it is sad. when I really think
he's
about
just
it.
a little,
Yeah, okay.
We have a little dog in our studio, and she's perked up now. I think she's like, oh, maybe I should appreciate my life. I don't have to save people's lives, and I get to sleep in one place.
Honey is the opposite of the littlest hobo. She's got a place to live, and she's never helped anybody.
No, she
never.
only
harms.
But she's so cute.
She only harms. All right, you go with another one because I'm.
Well, we talked about Schitt's Creek last week.
Yeah.
It is still one of the best shows, one of my favorite shows of all time.
Yeah.
It's just so good.
I think it would go down as, in my view, and it's got international acclaim. It's won awards all over the world, and it's massive. It would probably be that show. You don't know about hilarious House of Frankenstein, but when I was a young boy, we would go to church every Sunday morning, and this show would show up on TV, like on CBC or whatever, at 6 a.m, and it was like a parody of like a horror show. I don't know. There was like it again. You know if you know.
Yeah.
But it was like, and I'm thinking about that. We'd watch that, and then we'd go off to church and be like, what's his name was in it? Like the voice of the famous voice of the famous Frankenstein voice guy, the guy that's in Michael Jackson's Thriller.
I don't know his name.
Michael Jackson's Thriller guy. I should have done some research, but and next we come to Frankenstein. Don't come alone.
Yeah.
That guy.
Okay.
You know that guy.
Yeah.
Whatever. Hilarious House of Frankenstein. Stein. Trust me. If you know, you know.
Okay.
Okay. You got one?
Well, we talked about Drake already today, but Degrassi, where he got his start, is an iconic Canadian show. I was a little bit too young to get into it when it was on TV, but I've seen episodes and clips and things like that. It was like the teens ate it up, and so many people got their start on that show, but Drake particularly played a little boy who eventually ended up in a wheelchair.
Mm-hmm.
And Jimmy, yes. I'm looking at the producer here because he's much more well-versed in the Degrassi universe than me, but it's a great Canadian show and launched one of the greatest Canadian pop rappers of all time.
For sure. Okay. I am terrible at impersonations, but Ricky. Oh.
Trailer Park Boys.
Trailer Park Boys. Bubbles.
Yes.
Bubbles, classic, unbelievable. So Canadiana from the Trailer Park, and the bottle guys, Corey and Trevor, and Mr. Leahy, and all of it was just so Canadian and so funny, but so terrible. It was just I'm trying to remember. There's so many great episodes, but the Green Bastard was great, the wrestling one. There are so many good ones, like so many good Trailer Park Boys. I mean, that's got to be your sense of humor, but yes, right?
Similarly, like when we're talking about Canadian comedies, and Letterkenny, I think in some ways was inspired by Trailer Park Boys, but I love Letterkenny.
Right.
Like I think that show is so funny. It's so Canadian. And then Shoresy, which is kind of the spin-off of Letterkenny, the hockey show. Yeah. Both of those are two of my favorites.
I've tried both those shows, and I should really like them. I have a hard time following the
But they talk so fast.
I need closed captioning, like if I watch something that's got an English accent or whatever, and it's the same there. I'm like, I don't know. I cannot keep up.
Too Canadian for you. You're not Canadian enough to enjoy Letterkenny?
I don't know what it is.
Not so bad. And you? Yeah, they do have their good. It is a great show.
Classic corner gas.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, just a classic Saskatchewan gas station story and massive, massive hit. Heartland, that's shot in southern Alberta, is, again, I never really watched it, but people that do love Heartland. And we've been to, what's the name of the small town? Is it High River where they shoot it? One of those towns just outside.
We really need to start doing research.
Calgary. That's okay. Sometimes it's more fun to just throw things out.
It's true, and then people can come at us. It's good.
Yeah. Okay.
What else do we got?
Amazing
here?
Race Canada.
Oh, Amazing Race Canada.
Yeah.
It's so fun, and so fun to watch the Amazing Race and all of like the Canadian places that they get to go and things they get to do. And we also have so many
connections
that
have done the show,
have done the show or won the show.
Our next door neighbors were patiently waiting to have on the show, and we have had, of course, Ashley Collingbowl on the show, and we've got Tyler Smith that we'd love to get on at some point soon because he just won with his girlfriend.
Yeah.
So anyway, Amazing Race Canada, and you watch them do this, and then you also get to see all these different places
Landmarks,
in Canada. These tourist attractions.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, it's a great one.
Like Fort Edmonton Park. Okay.
I'm sure there's a million other shows as well.
There is.
These are just some of our faves.
Yeah, SCTV. I got to do a shout out to SCTV too.
Yes, we talked about them a little bit last week.
Yeah, exactly. Okay. Yeah, favorite Canadian animal.
You made this list.
Favorite Canadian animal. And Bailey says, I don't think I have a favorite Canadian animal. I'm like, okay, you can become in the 51st state then. Like, seriously.
I'm sorry.
Like, you have to have some Canadian animals you're proud of.
I like them all, but I didn't know that it was like a category. You were passionate about this category, so I'll let you take the lead on this.
I'm gonna name them, and then I'm gonna ask you which is your favorite.
Okay,
all right.
Okay.
The moose.
Yeah.
The elk. All right. The beaver. The polar bear. The bison. The Canadian goose.
I know my sister-in-law, Leslie, loves bison.
Yes.
Passionate about bison.
Yeah, she goes to Elk Island Park every year
to go watch
just to hang out with them.
Yeah, she's very passionate about them.
Yeah.
I think that they're lovely, but I have a thing about animals that are smarter than me and bigger than me.
Right.
Which is like kind of a lot of animals.
Right.
But like moose, elk, bison, they're all so big that I'm a little bit afraid of them. I respect them, but I'd like to keep a distance.
Okay.
I think my favorite might be the beaver.
The beaver?
They're so cute. The little baby beavers are so cute. They do big damage. I know that.
So much damage.
But they are really crafty.
Yeah.
You have to respect how smart they are and how they build the whole dams and houses and is it the otters that hold hands? I think it's otters that hold hands, not beavers, but they're quite cute.
Yeah. What did the mama beaver say to the baby beaver?
Shut the damn door.
Shut the damn door.
There you go.
I love it. All right. I'm gonna say the bison.
Yeah, they are amazing.
But the Canada goose, you gotta appreciate.
They're just kind of loud.
Yeah. But they're smart enough to leave, in the winter.
Hey.
Like, you got to give them credit. Like, they're smart enough to get the hell out of here, and then they come back, and they always come back. Like, I appreciate that. They always come back.
Since taking a step back from the radio, you've been a bit of a Canada goose. You spent some time in Mexico in the winter. Not we're celebrating Canada, but you also are popping over there a fair amount. So
I'm gonna do less of that. Okay, less. All right. Favorite clothing brands. You can take this one.
This one I am much more.
Apparently, animals don't mean anything to you. All right.
I do have a lot. No, I love animals. I didn't have a favorite. I like them all.
Okay.
Favorite clothing brands. What are we both wearing today? You didn't get yourself dressed, did you?
Lululemon.
Yeah. Lululemon is a Canadian founded brand. And,
do we know who invented it? Was it Mr. Lulu or Mrs. Lulu?
No, I don't think so.
Okay.
I don't know who invented it, and I'm not gonna make it up. I think they just came up with like a fun name. I don't think it's tied to their names at all.
All right.
But they make the best workout clothing.
Yeah.
Worldwide, I think. Like, it is the most popular brand, or one of the most. Just really, really great. Canada Goose. I don't own anything Canada Goose. I'm not bougie enough. You know who does? This guy.
Yeah, not because of me. No, because of my wife.
Yeah, and we bought her a Canada Goose jacket all together for her Christmas a couple years ago, too.
I got a lighter Canada Goose jacket.
It's like more of a vest, kind of?
Yeah, I really like it. It's like my go-to. I took it to the dry cleaner to get it dry cleaned one day. Always ask what it's going to cost when you take things there. No, what could I do? It had ketchup on it or Subway, because I think I'd been eating Subway when I was driving. But it was $50 to dry clean it. I'm like,
wow.
Are you kidding me?
That's the price of an average jacket.
I came home and that's what I said. I said, was this jacket more than $50? Karen said, I'm not telling you what it was.
But they do make great products. Very warm. Canada made.
All right.
Roots.
Yeah.
Roots is so comfy.
Yeah.
They have
kind of the Olympic thing, right?
Yeah, and they're doing their like lounge wear. They do a great job of the sweatpants. It's so cozy. I got a great pair of Roots sweatpants from our producer's younger brother. His younger brother.
Which younger brother?
Christian.
Okay.
Well, I guess he has two younger brothers. You're right. Because Christian bought them and was like, "Oh, these aren't really my size. Bailey, do you want them?" And I said, "Yeah, I do. They're great sweatpants." So that's great.
They're way too big on me. Can you wear them?
Basically, that was the gist of it. Yes.
Nice.
Yeah, but that's, you know what? I'll accept it. Free sweatpants. Aritzia. Do you know anything about Aritzia?
Not
do you know where it is in the mall?
It could be, that could have been an Italian restaurant. I have no idea.
It is one of the most common, or one of the most popular fashion brands, like in Canada for sure, but in general, like it's very, very popular.
Okay.
Aritzia makes the Super Puff jacket, which is the real. If I'm going to pick between Canada Goose and a Super Puff, I love the Super Puff. It is one of it, and you need those warm jackets. They make great jackets.
Do we have a connection? We have a connection with Aritzia, like somebody that works there?
Yes, one of our good friends, Elisa, works there.
Yeah.
Who's Bree's sister.
Yeah, that's what I thought. That's how I remember the name.
Okay, so you know that.
Okay.
Yeah, Elisa works there. It's it's very trendy. It's like where all the cool girls work. It's what the cool girls wear, but their Super Puffs are amazing.
Bree is a Talking Scheetz super fan.
Yes, we love Bree.
Yeah. Yeah, she does some amazing things.
Yeah, one day she's gonna have to come on here, and she's a massage therapist, and she does amazing fascial stretch therapy.
Yeah.
She's gonna have to come teach us how to stretch.
She stretched my fascial before, I tell you that.
That sounds
I didn't even know I
horrible.
had a fascial until I stretched it.
It's not a facial. You're like, am I going to get a facial? No, it's your fascial stretch.
R is starting to look disgusted. I don't know how well this podcast is going, but I'm having fun. I
want to shout out to some. I could go on for days, but Simon's. Love Simon's.
Yeah.
Essence, which is an online retailer for the most part. There is a big flagship store in Montreal, but I've never been. They do amazing sales on like really cool designer goods and things like that, but it's Canadian company, which is really cool. And Nix started in underwear, KNIX, but they've kind of gone into loungewear and bathing suits and things like that too. And Canadian companies.
All right.
Yeah, I'm sure I missed a bunch as well. There's so many, but they're my favorites.
Favorite Canadian stores?
Yes.
Okay. Classic Canadian Tire.
Mm-hmm.
There's so much more to Canadian Tire than tires. It's alarming when we go there. Your mom loves it. I love it.
There's something for everyone.
Yeah.
What's for me is their snack line.
Yeah.
They kind of have like very unique treats when you go in. It's I think it's called Frank's, and it's their like specialty snacks. They have all kinds of like caramel popcorn and candies, but it's their Canadian Tire brand, and their Canadian Tire brand chips are really good. Yeah. Yeah. So you can go to get your tires and your snacks in one place.
Your chips and your tires. Okay. Yes. Our friends at Friesen Brothers.
Yes.
They do as much as they can to acquire all of their products locally and locally sourced and we love the Friesen Brothers. They got one close to you in Glenora now, and it's great.
It is. You go. It's such a nice experience because everything is organized so well and it's so pretty, and they have so many unique products. It's like going there is like a fun field trip.
It's it's like the grocery store Disneyland.
Yes, there's so much to explore. We love Friesen.
All right, Home Hardware. Yeah. Home of the handyman. There's one in Devon. Mm-hmm. When I was growing up, Home Hardware that's where you got all your stuff. That was before all these big giant places showed up, right? Mm-hmm. And we had a Home Hardware in Devon, in Thorsby, the Hoffman's Home Hardware, and Home Hardware will always be kind of a classic.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It'll always have a place in your home.
It will. Yeah. Absolutely. Okay. And
Indigo Books.
All right.
Started in Canada. It kind of combined with Chapters, but it's the one-stop shop to get your books. And there's also a lot of really cool local places to get books in Edmonton, which is Magpie Books. This is if you're in Edmonton. Yeah. Magpie Books is great. Lots of people have been asking me for my book recommendations lately because since I talked about books in one of the first episodes, so we might have to get into that at some point.
We can do that. What are these things you call books?
Hey, you promised me that you would try. I think when we have
I gotta try
an upcoming family vacation.
I have some books. My buddy Mike Anderson's given me some great ideas for books. Just talking about things.
Books about things. No way.
Things that are that could help me in my new roles and things like that. So I'm
like self-help.
Exactly.
So he's recommended them to you as a friend.
Yeah.
I think you might need these.
Is that it?
Yeah.
I think that's it.
We did pretty good.
I think we pulled it off. Hey, Hey, you know what? Thank you. If you've downloaded this, continue to do that. Subscribe to the video version. Jack, look at that.
Wow. That's a reflex.
Bailey works really hard on putting the video together. So if you can go to YouTube and subscribe, we would appreciate that as well. But it's growing. It's building. Life's and again, no matter what, we're hanging out. We're hanging out.
It's always fun. It's always a good time. Sometimes I'm coming here and I'm tired and I have to feed the baby. There's a lot going on in my life and I'm like, oh my gosh. But then when we do it, I'm like, this is a good time.
Kind of reminds me of exercise. Like when you're getting your shoes on to go and do it, you're like, oh my, why am I doing this? And then when you finish, you're like, that's why I did it.
It was so much fun.
Yeah, exactly.
I hope that the people listening feel that way too.
Let us know. Yeah. Keep us going.
And let us know what other Canadian things we missed.
Yeah.
Maybe there'll be a part 3 one day.
Probably a couple. All right. We love our country.
Yes.
And we're not leaving it.
No.
Unless it's 40 below.
Like a goose.
Even when we got nothing to talk about, there's nowhere I'd rather be. 'Cause there's something about you and me just sitting around talking Scheetz.